Hey friends, welcome back. Today I am getting ready before work, and I told you guys that I was going to be ordering some of these ColourPop mega palettes, and this was one of the ones that I picked up in Gone Matte. And this is what the shades look like in here if you've never seen it before. And this palette has inspired me today to create an all matte makeup look. And I don't think I've done this on my channel, and I've been here on YouTube since 2011, and I don't think I've ever created an all matte makeup look. So we're going to be doing that today. So I did my skincare off camera, before filming this, and I haven't mentioned this, but I have started using some of the Bioma skincare products, and I've been using these now for probably about 3 weeks or so. I bought like a little travel set, though I think that this is a full size of like the eye cream. This is the Depuff Brightening Eye Gel. And I love this as an under eye cream. I've been using this morning and night. I used it this morning, and I find that it works really well with your concealers. Like, it doesn't do like any of that peeling, and I find that it really hydrates the under eye area well. Maybe it depuffs just a little bit, but it's not like one of those that you put on and it's like you just see the the depuffing going down. But I do think that it helps it, a little bit over time. And I've also really enjoyed, I can't remember what it's called. It's just like a little sample. It's in the bathroom. I'll just pop it up on screen. But like the really moisturizing cream. So, I love First Aid Beauty, but if you are looking for something a little bit more affordable, I think this is really good. And this is also supposed to be formulated for sensitive skin. So I want to get some of the full size of that because, well, I think that is the full size of the eye cream, but like the full size of the face moisturizer stuff. But anyway, let's just go ahead and jump into this. And for my foundation today, I'm going to be using the Wet n Wild Photo Focus Matte Foundation. I love this one. Even though it is matte, it is not like a really drying flat matte foundation. And that is my goal in this tutorial today, is I want to do an all matte look, but I want it to be not like a flat matte. Like, I want to show that you can do matte makeup and you look alive and it looks nice. So I'm probably going to end up mixing the shades in Soft Beige and Soft Ivory. I'm kind of in between these two right now. So I'm just putting them on the back of my hand here like that, which I'm kind of just curious. Maybe I can just use Soft Beige. I'm going to just try to go for it today. That's the thing. It's like with me, when the warmer weather starts rolling around, like I'm kind of in between foundation shades for a little bit. I'm just going in with my Wet n Wild makeup sponge, and I'm just blending in this foundation. But I've really fallen in love with this Wet n Wild Photo Focus. Like, in some ways, I like it better, even better than my Revlon Color Stay, which is really saying a lot because, like, Revlon Color Stay was my holy grail foundation for, like, years. But the past couple of times that I have used that foundation, it just doesn't... It looks, I don't know, like drying. I don't know, something about it just isn't looking the way it used to look. And maybe it's because we're not in full-blown summer yet. That is kind of like my foundation in the summer when it is super hot and humid out. That will last through anything, through like heat and humidity. So we'll give Revlon Color Stay a shot this summer and see how I feel about it. But I don't know, my skin might be getting a little too mature for that foundation now. There just sometimes comes a time in your, as your skin starts to get a little bit more mature, that certain foundations and products that used to look amazing on you and used to work really well just tend to not really work anymore the same way. But this Wet n Wild Photo Focus matte foundation is just so pretty on the skin. Like, once it dries down, it does get a little bit more matte. But like I said, I don't find it to be like a flat matte or anything. It just looks really nice on the skin. Okay, and then for my concealer, I think I'm going to end up mixing these two, the Tarte Shape Tape and the e.l.f. Camo Concealer, just because I think this e.l.f. Camo Concealer is slightly a little bit too light. So I'm just going to mix these two together. Let's just dot the camo one like so. And the e.l.f. Camo is in the shade Medium Sand. And this Tarte Shape Tape is in the shade Light Medium. So the Tarte one is just slightly a little darker. Not by much. And I'm just going to take my sponge, blend it out. But like in your makeup collection, like what are some of your favorite matte products? Do you also love like these base products that I'm using? These are some of my favorite like full coverage, long wearing type of products. And my skin type is more like normal, leaning a little bit oily. So I think that's why these type of products I do kind of gravitate towards if I want something like more for full coverage, more long wearing. I'm going to go in with the Tarte Shape Tape, and I'm just going to add just a little bit more coverage to these areas on my face. Also just to lighten ever so slightly. Though I found that this shade in Light Medium is kind of more of just the same tone as that foundation. And then to set all over the face, I'm going to use the Wet n Wild Photo Focus Loose Setting Powder. It's been a minute since I have used this all over the face. And I think I might actually use their soft pink version to set the under eyes. And then I'm going to use the translucent to set all over the face. So just getting a little bit of this soft pink on this brush. This is just the Sigma F35. Just lightly patting that. And I think I told you guys that I've actually been enjoying this soft pink powder now that I've gotten a little bit of color. In the winter, I was just so fair that I felt like that was really showing up pink on my skin. It just wasn't looking right. But the finish of that soft pink powder is just like their regular Photo Focus. It's just got a little bit of a pink tone to it. Like, if I hold both these powders up, you can kind of see how, hopefully you can see on camera. I don't want to like tilt it too much. Well, maybe you can kind of see in the little tubs here, how that's just like slightly a little bit of like a light pink compared to like the translucent. But yeah, I've been mostly, like when I use a loose setting powder, like I've been mostly reaching for either my Maybelline Fit Me or that L'Oreal Blurfection powder. So I figured let's bust out this Wet n Wild one again. Especially since I'm using the Wet n Wild foundation. But this is also going to just mattify things a little bit more. And I do want to use a setting spray at the end. It will bring a little bit of a glow. And that's kind of also a way that you can make like a matte makeup look work for you. If it gets a little too matte, like flat matte, you can always add some setting spray and that is going to bring some life back to the makeup look. And it's also going to add to the lasting power as well. Okay, I put like a lip conditioner on my lip and I'm going to take it off just because I got foundation on my lips. I just want to get all that off. And then I'm going to reapply the lip conditioner. And I'm just going to use this Vaseline Rosy Lips, the one that's in the stick form. This one isn't quite as moisturizing as the tub, but it's just a little bit more convenient to use being like in a stick like this. I went ahead and did my brows, and I first set them in place with the Maybelline Super Lock Brow Glue. Then while that was drying, I went ahead and applied the Milani eyeshadow primer, and then I went in and filled my brows in with the NYX Bladen shade. And then I probably should have done the brow gel afterwards, but I wanted to kind of get my brows in place, but I went through, brushed them, and then reset them again. So, all right, now we're gonna go ahead and move on to the eyeshadow. And like I said, I'm gonna be using the ColourPop Gone Matte palette. And I'm debating on which shades I wanna use. And if you look at these, it's kind of like each little row here kind of go together if you wanted to create like a look that was cohesive. So I'm kind of debating between either like one of these first, like basically these, the warmer rows here. I'm kind of debating between these, like what I want to do. But I think let's do the pink row. I just think that looks really fun. And yeah, so, okay, most of the eyeshadow brushes I'm going to be using today come from an Amazon brush set. So I'll have that set linked down below. So I'm going to be using mainly these brushes, but I've got two other brushes I'm going to use that are not from that set. So this brush here is from Sigma. This is the Sigma E25 blending. And then this brush here is an e.l.f. brush that I got out of an e.l.f. brush set, and it's just a defining eye brush. So those are all the eyeshadow brushes I'm gonna use to do this look. But first, I'm gonna go in with the shade Cozy Cutie, or Cozy Cute, the shade here. Just getting some of that shade here on this blending brush. And then I'm just gonna blend the shade in the crease, but kind of up into the crease. And this is the first time that I'm using this Gone Matte palette, so I guess it's kind of a first impression. But so far, like, I did order like the Bare Necessities and the Smoke and Roses palette, right? Yeah, Smoke and Roses. And then, like I showed you guys in one of my other videos, I used the Stone Cold Fox, which is basically one of the inspirations as to why I went ahead and bought these other ones. But I have used the Bare Necessities and the Smoke and Roses, and the quality of those is on par with this Stone Cold Fox. So I mean, this shade is blending out so easily. I'm not having any fallout. It's just beautiful. I think these ColourPop Mega palettes are just such great quality palettes, and I cannot believe it has taken me this long to buy these. I mean, I know a big part of the reason why I haven't bought these until now is the fact that I stopped doing YouTube between like 2020 and until like 2020 and until 2023. I came back at the end of 2023, and during that time frame was when like these palettes were mostly released. I think maybe this Gone Matte palette did come out in 2019, but the other ones were released in like the years I was not doing YouTube. And like the years I wasn't doing YouTube, I also was not really buying makeup very much. I was just like using my makeup collection just because, you know, I wasn't in the mode of like buying and reviewing products. So I just wasn't purchasing things as much. Okay, next I'm going to go in with the angled brush from that Amazon set, and I'm going to get some more of that Cozy Cute. I want to say Cozy Cutie. That just has a better ring to it, but Cozy Cute. And I'm just going to blend that here on the lower lash line. But do you guys own all of these ColourPop Mega palettes, or like, do you own at least one of them? Like, let me know in the comments if you own any of these, like what your thoughts are on the palettes. But I just love these ColourPop Mega palettes. I've bought some of their smaller palettes, and I mean, like, they're good, but I don't know. There's just something about these mega palettes that are just even better, in my opinion. But, like, what are your favorite ColourPop palettes? Like, are there some others I should get? I've got some brow hairs I need to tweeze. Okay, next I'm going to go in with PJs, which is the shade above Cozy Cute, the shade here. And I'm going to blend that at the top of the crease. I just want to warm this up just a little bit more. And then I'm going to take the shade above that in Eurofaux, and I'm going to use that e.l.f. Defining Eye Brush to blend that on the brow bone. But I love how like each row is like color coordinated, and it's easy to just create an eye look with those, or you know, you could jump around the palettes. Like, I have really been into like these super large eyeshadow palettes, which just is not normally me. I usually like little palettes, but I just love the ability to just have a lot of options and select different colors anywhere in the palette. It's like I'm noticing all these brow hairs I need to tweeze. But yeah, I just love having all these different options of shades to choose from. So I think that's why I've been loving all of these ColourPop Mega palettes. And then I've also been loving the Revolution, like this large palette, their Maxi Reloaded palette. And that makes me want to get some more of those, because I know they've got at least one or two other of those Maxi Reloaded. Okay, in the outer V, I'm going to take this shade down here. In that row, the bottom shade. And I'm just getting that on the Sigma E25 blending. And I'm just gonna blend this here in the outer V. I think maybe another reason at the time, like why I didn't really buy these ColourPop palettes when they first came out, is because it's back before like drugstore makeup, the costs, I just feel like after 2020, like the cost of drugstore makeup has just really increased quite a bit. And like these ColourPop palettes, I think are like around $23 or something like that. And so at the time, I just felt like that was kind of expensive for like a drugstore palette, even though it comes with, you know, a lot of shades in here. So, I mean, it's definitely worth it. And like the quality is just out of this world for being an affordable brand. So now that like the cost of things for drugstore has went up, like this seems a bit more reasonable. So I think that's another reason why I've just been more drawn to wanting to get these palettes. Okay, I'm going back with PJs. And just blending around the edges. And then I'm going to take some more of that darkest color in that row. And I'm also going to smudge some of that just right out here. Then all over the lid, I'm going to grab Eurofaux, the lightest color in that row. And I'm just getting that on this flat shader brush. And I'm going to pat that shade all over the eyelid. Then to blend right out here, I'm going to flip that shader brush over and grab 1Z. And I'm going to pat that in between the darkest color and that Eurofaux. Just kind of go back and forth. Just to kind of create a little bit more of a transition. Just gonna go in with my finger. I would say that's probably like the biggest thing when it comes to matte eyeshadows versus shimmer. that with shimmer shadows, I feel like when you're doing like a transition, like on the lid here, it's easier to make things look a little bit more blended than whenever you're using matte shades. But I think that ColourPop did such a great job with doing like a good gradient with each of like the rows and the different color stories in this palette, that it does make it quite a bit easier to do a nice blended matte eyeshadow look. Like, look at how pretty that is. Like, I just love that. Then I'm taking a little bit more of Eurofaux on that angled brush, and I'm just gonna brush it here in the inner corner and then just touch up right below the brow bone. And then here is the eyeshadow done. So pretty. I love the way the eyes turned out. So I love this palette. I mean, at least this row, I think that those shades are so pretty, but I expect all the other shades in this palette to be just as good. So I cannot wait to do other looks with this palette for you guys. Moving on to the face. So one of my favorite matte bronzers from my makeup collection is actually this little palette from e.l.f. and this is their contour palette. So I'm going to be using this shade to contour just a little bit. So I'm just getting a little bit of that on this e.l.f. Expert Face Brush, or e.l.f. Real Techniques Expert Face Brush, and I'm just going to blend this out just kind of right in the hollows of the cheeks. But I feel like this e.l.f. contour palette is such a hidden gem. I feel like I never hear anybody talk about this, and it's one of my favorite bronzing type of palettes. So now I'm just going in with more of like the bronzer shade in this, and I'm just gonna bronze, and I'm using the Sigma F30. And then I'm just gonna bronze around the hairline. I take a little bit of bronzer on my neck just to warm it up, since I feel like my face is a little bit darker than my neck. Dust a little bit here on my nose. Okay, and then for a matte blush, I've been debating, like just thinking about it in my head, like what I want to use. Like I have actually really been enjoying this blush, Very Berry by Revlon. So I think this would be a good one because it is a matte. It's like I've also got the Wet n Wild color icon in Mellow Wine, which I think would be really beautiful with this. I think I might actually go with this blush today, the Mellow Wine. And I'm just using my Sigma F40 to apply this. Yeah, I think that Mellow Wine pairs really nicely with the eyeshadow. And sometimes to like tie in my eye look with the blush, I'll actually take just a little bit of blush like on my blending brush and just put that at the top of the crease. And I don't know if you guys can really tell that big of a difference, but I don't know. A lot of times I really like the way this looks. Maybe it's just a subconscious thing. And we're gonna be skipping a highlight today since this is an all matte makeup look. And I'm debating like what matte lip I wanna use. So I don't think I've actually used this on camera yet, but I bought this a while back. But this is one of the Wet n Wild Soft Blur Matte lipsticks. And this is in the color Shy. And I think that this would look really pretty with this look. This also would pair really nicely with this Revlon blush. But before we go in with that lip color, I think I am gonna line my lips. I'm like, do I wanna line my lips? Let's just go ahead and apply this lip product, and then if I wanna clean up the edges, I'll use a lip liner. So. But this just is such a comfortable matte lip. Like it actually feels moisturizing. The formula is really nice on this. And I think that that color also pairs really nicely with all the other products that we used on the face today. And I don't necessarily feel like I need a lip liner to clean up the edges, but you know, if you wanted something, I think maybe this color in Sienna by Revlon would look nice, or you could also use Nude. So that just kind of sharpens the edges of the lip liner up. If you didn't want it to look too, you know, lipsticky, you can just always line your lips after you apply your lipstick. So now we need to do the mascara, but like if you really wanted this to just stay very matte, you could totally skip setting spray, or the one setting spray that I like to use if I would like to keep things matte is this L'Oreal Infallible 3-second setting mist. This is going to keep everything looking really matte, but if you did want to add just maybe slightly a little bit of shine back to the face, like a little bit of a glow, not really shine, you could just use a little bit of like the Urban Decay All Nighter. So I'm going to use that because I do want to add just a slight bit of a glow back to the face, but nothing crazy. So you just do a few little mists of this. Like the more of this that you use, the more like dewiness you're going to get on the face. So that's why sometimes I really load that setting spray up if I'm really wanting to give my face more of a glow and tone down the powders. But I'm just gonna let this dry and then we'll come back and I'll finish out the rest of this look. I went ahead and did my mascara off camera. I feel like I want to add just a little bit more mascara over here, but I just used the Maybelline Lash Sensational Mascara. And this is the makeup look completed. Just an all matte makeup. I can't believe I haven't done an all matte makeup look on my channel until now. But if you guys did enjoy this makeup look, this get ready with me, give this video a thumbs up. Let me know your request down in the comments, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye-bye.